Well, we have a very special guest today. And I call him Dad because I think he's been sent by Spirit. My parents are gone, but you remind me of my dad, very kind and compassionate. But he's also very wise. And Robert McNair is on our board of directors, and he's always there for us for ISD. And I said, can you come and speak this Sunday? And he said, yes, I will. So let's welcome Robert.
Thank you very much. And good morning to everyone. Can everyone hear me all right? Good. What I would like to talk about this morning is I feel as though I have grown, not just because of my own accomplishments, but because of many, many people. Of course, my parents, my teachers. But what I would like to center on today and have you think about your earliest years and your first experiences with religious instruction. Now, I believe that I'm a very simple person. I don't like to complicate life. I never have. I've never been one to worry about having enough energy or enough money or enough friends or anything. I figured as long as I live a simple life, I will succeed, and I have. And I think one of the reasons is because of my Christianity. When Reverend Melinda talked about light, I always think in terms of walking into a deep room and you turn on the light and it's just amazing because it affects you physically. I mean, you can see, you know what's going on all around you, but I think it's an emotional thing, it's a spiritual thing. And to me, when I refer to Christianity, I always think of Jesus as the light of the world. I think my early lessons gave me a blueprint to live, and I think Jesus' words not only were, should I say, full of wisdom, but they also were simple, and I think that's what attracted me. And going back and looking at his readings, his stories, his relationships with people, it all stemmed back, and it's repeated again and again in the Bible, the golden rule. Even people would come up to him and ask him and say, how can I have a better life? How can I be happier? How can I find good health? And he would always say, treat everyone else as you would want to be treated yourself. And this is what I have done. So the reading I have this morning is Matthew 7:12. In everything, therefore, treat people the same way you want them to treat you, for this is the law and the prophets. Now, how much more simple can you get than that? I mean, you know, you can really dig into it, but it's not necessary. And in this season right now, I think it's so important when I think of the light of the world. Through the year, I have difficulties just like everyone else. And I see so much sadness, not only with myself, with my friends, with what's going on in this country, but all over the world. And I just think to myself, as the months go by, can it get any worse? And it does, it seems. However, December comes, and I look towards the end of December, and here again, the light of the world, the baby Jesus shining, and it's like a light at the end of the tunnel, actually, to me. And also when I think of that, isn't it appropriate that right after that we have New Year's, and then we make our New Year's revelations. I learned about Jesus through my grandmothers, my father's mother and my mother's mother. Now, my mother, when I was about 5 or so, my mother ran off and left my father and my sister and I to fend for ourselves. So her mother came to live with us, and she was an Irish Catholic, very devout person. She would sit me on her knee and she would teach me stories about Jesus. And I thought, gee, this sounds good. I like this. This is something positive. They're simple stories, and I really related to it. And in later life, I thought to myself, because I married a Catholic, a Roman Catholic, who was a wonderful person, but I was told that the Catholic Church was the only church, the one and only, which, I just said, well, that's what you think. But looking back on it, I thought, gee, my grandmother could have tried to change my way of thinking, because my older sister was baptized a Catholic. And by the time I came along, my mother had a fight with a local parish priest, and she decided we're all going to be Baptist. So that's what we were. So here I am, this Baptist grandson, but my grandmother didn't. She just told me about Jesus and what a wonderful life he led, and how he loved people, and he would help people physically and emotionally and mentally. And I decided at that early age that was all I was going to concentrate on. My grandmother was very devout, but yet she was very human. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that people that come into our lives that can affect us and can make us happy, they can be all types of people. Now, my Irish grandmother, as soon as all of us grandchildren were old enough to count, she taught us how to play poker. And she would let us sip her beer. I thought that was great. Now, in the summer, my sister and I would be packed up and put on a train. We lived in Rhode Island at the time, and my grandparents on my father's side lived in Pennsylvania, Bucks County, and they were Mennonites. So you want to talk about the opposite spectrum of religion. But here again, my grandmother was a very simple person. She never cut her hair her whole life. She never wore lipstick or makeup. In the family, they never drank. They didn't smoke. They lived very simple lives. But her whole life was one of giving. All she did was devote herself to helping the sick, or visiting anybody who had a problem. They were just so kind. And I thought, well, here again, that's something simple. And that's what I tuned into. However, I became of the age where I had to go to Sunday school. And here's where things changed, because I was taught about gloom and doom and sins. I was told I was a sinner. Here I was, 7 years old. What sins could I have committed? I thought that was ridiculous. Luckily, I had a mind of my own, and I decided I'm not going to listen to all this judgment. No matter what I do, and it's true. As I grew older, I studied other religions, and I took from each one what was positive and what I thought was good. Here again, it's simple, something simple. But I was still a mortal person. I was brought up by parents who raised me the same way they raised their children. The same way they were raised by their parents, that they had to be perfect. Perfection was very, very important. And I remember questioning my father. I said, but only God is perfect. And he said, well, we try to achieve perfection. And I knew that wasn't possible. I was looking through human eyes. I wasn't looking through spiritual eyes. And in time, I began to realize, now God is perfect. He can heal, he can comfort. The energy that he has, it lasts, it extends everywhere. And it's powerful. And I'm saying to myself, all right, and he's a spirit. And I knew enough to know that I'm only living in a shell of a body. It's this human existence. And when I die, my spirit goes to heaven. So I thought, all right, I'm a spirit. So God's a spirit. That means we're the same. And that means I have the same power. And not only me, but every single person that I come in contact with. And this opened up, I mean, such a different way of looking at life. I mean, it just causes such comfort because I can walk down the street and someone can come towards me. And if I smile at them, they will smile back. Now, this is a physical reaction, but if you look into people's eyes, you can see more and you can feel more, and it gives you more power. And that's why as a community, we all have more power because we multiply all this as far as I can think. I don't know, really. But I like to learn as much as I can from everyone that I come in contact, but especially the spirit that's in them because it's pure love. I looked up the definition of love and all I got was affection. And I thought, well, there's more to that. There has to be more to that. And it was my wife that actually taught me. When we were engaged, we were getting ready to get married. I was amazed that she wanted to marry me, but she must have seen something. And it is because of her who I am today, because she was a good person. And it's interesting because I said to her one night, I said, how do you know you're really in love with me? And she said, because when we're not together, she said, I miss you. She said, I want to be with you all the time, every minute of every day. And I don't think that's only true of people. I think it's of things. I think it's of situations. You go to a party or something, you don't want to leave if you really love. And so I think the measure is really of love is in how much time you really want to spend. And the last thing I would like to say is that what I have mentioned, the golden rule, and people think sometimes it's only in how we treat somebody else. But I like to think, here again, because of the season that we're going through now, we not only have to love one another, but I think we have to give each other gifts. And when I say gifts, I don't mean necessarily material gifts, which they're nice. You can give food or you can give anything. But to me, the most beautiful thing that we can give is ourselves. Spending time with other people. And something that's difficult for me to do, because obviously you can see I'm a talker, is listening to people. This is very, very important. And that's what I would like to leave you with for this Christmas season. Make one of your gifts spending time with someone. And also, don't forget, when you come back to our next service, and I know you're all going to come back, make sure you bring a friend and tell them what a great place this is and what wonderful food we're going to have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
My pleasure.
I thought about who do I really, really want to be with all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's God.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
all the time.
That's true.
And when you sometimes, some of us are trained in trance meditation, it can be addicting because it's a beautiful experience.
Mm.
But then we have to come back to reality, and God's with us all the time. We just get busy. which
True.
means right now. So thank you so much for that. And the opening of the holiday season. The other thing about lights is, and I'm not sure, I'm gonna go through this in announcements, but Rabbi Michael usually does pop-up Hanukkah lighting around the county. You know, they're like pop-ups, and then the police find out about it a little bit later, too late, and go somewhere else. But I know they've had them in Sebastian and different areas, so I'll find out if he's doing that this year. But December, I found from living overseas with different cultures and religions, that December just from Thanksgiving, people don't have Thanksgiving in their country, but people love the idea of gratitude and Thanksgiving. It goes all the way straight through to New Year's. This is a very special time because you can feel the energy raising. And my only wish is if we could hold that throughout the year, you know, so this season, as you feel the hallmarks, as I'm watching Hallmark, but to try to hold that. And if you can't, which is understandable, remind yourself, we can do this.